The pup equals not your typical mutt. This is dedicated to my mom, RMC, may she rest in peace. She was the inspiration for this short novel, though I cleaned it up a bit and gave it a story. LOL. Janet Yardley found herself driving aimlessly down the old two-lane access road where the hand-painted sign caught her eye. Free puppies. 666, Neville Grove Lane. 3 miles ahead. She had lived in this area since childhood, though this street was unfamiliar to her. Having just lost her job of 9 years to a damn computer left Janet miserable. How could they have dismissed her so cruelly, especially an employee who had often been referred to around the shop as irreplaceable? A woman who knocked herself out to make certain her work was done on time, and never a moment later than expected. There were even times when she had taken the damn papers home just to get ahead of the next day's load. And how many weekends had she given up just to satisfy her boss? So many she'd forgotten what it was like to go out on a date. Janet had given her youth, her weekends, and most of her sanity to a shitty company who found it only too easy to replace her with a piece of cold, heartless machinery. How degrading, she huffed to herself as she turned onto Neville Grove Lane, following the arrow on the cardboard sign. Neville Grove looked about like all the other roads out in this area. Mostly, there were only 1 or 2 homes per road, and the rest of the land was taken up by the apple orchards. Rows and rows of trees lined these roads, giving off an attractive sweet fragrance that always delighted Janet, making this her favorite season of the year. More signs lined the road of trees, all with arrows pointing the curious in the right direction. Still, this road wasn't familiar to her. The house she'd passed on the left, some distance back, she had no recollection of, but that didn't distract her any. Now jobless, she had nothing but time. Free puppies. Here. She hesitated, debating whether to pull into the drive. A rust-eaten pickup truck sat outside the open barn doors, and the dingy gray farmhouse looked vacant, from what she could tell from the road. All the drapes were drawn, and the furniture upon the rickety porch was still turned up on end. The lawn out front was in dire need of cutting, but at least the surrounding orchard appeared well maintained. Deciding it was either a prank or signs left from last season, Janet began to pull away slowly, still eyeing the house that probably could use a new coat or 2 of paint, something more cheerful like yellow or even white. "Hey!" a voice shouted, and she looked out the front window just in time, then slammed on the brakes before colliding with the elderly man upon an old-time one-speed bicycle. "I'm terribly sorry, sir," she apologized out the open driver's window. "I didn't know you were there. Maybe if you'd been lookin' where you was goin' 'stead of my house you'd 'ave seen me. You come lookin' for a pup, have ya?" After nearly running the poor old man down, Janet felt obligated and couldn't come up with a better excuse for her distraction on such short notice. "Why, yes," she smiled warmly. "But I didn't think anyone was here. That's why I didn't pull into the drive. Ain't got much call fair people and more. Park your car hind that truck and I'll be right with ya. The pups is out back o' the house with the bitch." She found herself wondering, as she parked where he'd instructed, if she would have the patience to rear a pup. Lord knows she had plenty of time, thanks to the shithead bookbinding company giving her the ruthless cold boot. But on a more positive note, maybe this is what she needed, something to beguile her from her woes. "They's out back," he called from the side of the house. "Come on, missy, I ain't got all day." A blind man could have pointed them out from the yelps, and had he also been deaf, he surely would have located them simply by smell. The pen where the old man kept them was filthy, and their prancing paws caked with fresh and old feces. The air also smelled strongly of urine when the wind blew toward them. Not even the sweet apple blossoms could mask the awful redolent. The mother looked as if she were on her last legs, as if the pups had nursed her to near dehydration. She laid still amongst the litter and batted her eyes lethargically while the yelpers trampled over her thin body. "Don't know what knocked her up, so I can't tell you what kind they is. I've had Lady Fair goin' on 5 years, I'd say, and don't even know what she is. Got her as a mutt. Something to keep an eye on the place, you know." They's 'bout 10 weeks old, I'd say. Maybe more, but no less. You're lookin' for a guard dog? Somewhat, but more a companion. Lady's been a good old gal. The wife's real fond of her, or was. Anyway, see one you likes? They're all cute, Janet admitted, trying to visualize them cleaned up. Even their fur was matted with dried mud or shit, making it hard to tell just what length their coat was. She wanted to take all 6, and the mother as well, to save them from what must have been hell inside that cramped pen. Again, she felt obligated, especially after seeing how they reacted to human attention, but taking all would be far too much of a challenge, even for one who had nothing else to do with her life. Plus, to take all 7 dogs home would require a much larger yard than what she had to offer. Which would you suggest, sir? A boy or girl? Depends on if you want to breed a bitch or put the boy out for stud. I'll tell you right now, there ain't much callin' for stud service from a mutt. The old man took a yellowed handkerchief from his back pocket and blew his nose with such enthusiasm, as if playing a trumpet. Momentarily, it did quiet the pups as they watched with curiosity. I hadn't planned on anything like that, she responded once he put the rag back into his pocket, then wiped his hands on the front of his tattered brown pants. I just wanted something to love who would love me back. Someone to take for walks and nurture. Someone to keep me company on lonely nights and warm my feet come winter. How big do you think these will get? Hard to tell, missy. The bitch, they're used to be close to 100, I suppose. Never had her to a vet in all her years, so that's just my estimation, and seein' as I haven't any inkling to what screwed her, your guess is as good as mine be. I take it you live alone? Did he have to put it so bluntly? Janet asked herself. 9 friggin' years wasted at that hole, and for what? What did she have to show for it? Certainly not a husband, not even a boyfriend. How utterly pathetic. She answered the old man with a shallow, almost ashamed nod. Well, if you want something low maintenance, a boy'd be your best bet. At least he'll never come home knocked up like lady's done plenty o' times. May do some other bitch wherein you live, but he'll be safe at least, he laughed dryly. Janet knelt to get a closer look at the puppies. They fought over one another for her attention. Their little faces pressed hard against the chicken wire, and she feared one of them would surely saw off their snouts in the stampede of excitement. She reached out her hand in greeting and noticed the smallest of the litter poked its foot through the wire, trying to nudge her,